Hi everyone, I'm here with Dr. Nima Rahmani, who is a lifestyle and stress coach, a chiropractor, bachata dancer, and proud father of Lucy. And I brought him on here today to kind of give us some guidance coming into this season. So we're talking a lot about immunity and flu, and even with, for example, Halloween coming up, Christmas, New Year's, there's a lot of eating and a lot of socializing that happens. And I find that for myself and a lot of people, the anxiety tends to rise about whether or not we're going to gain weight or how we're really feeling. So I wanted, because it's in your area of expertise, to kind of give us some insight on that.
Well, absolutely. It's not a big secret that there is a link between stress and the food that we eat. And so most of us are unconscious. We're not aware of what it is that we're, our behaviors when it comes to these types of, this time of year and what we're putting into our body. The first thing that we have to understand is our relationship with stress and the food we eat. Anytime you go through stress, you elevate your cortisol and adrenaline in your body, and those are your stress hormones. And the precursor to stress hormones, the building blocks, is fat and sugar. So if you find yourself starting to crave things during this time of year that are in the fat and sugar department, then you're not alone. It's very common. Our bodies, when we're going through a fight or flight stress state, i.e., in-laws coming from out of town, travel, all of this time of year, exams, midterms, this time of year is just chock full of stress, mixed in with a lack of sunlight because of the area of the world that we're in. We don't spend as much time outdoors because the weather isn't as nice as it is in the summer. The foods that we're eating from Halloween to Christmas are obviously chock full of sugar, which is an immune suppressant. We are walking into an environment where we're becoming breeding ground for flus, sicknesses, stress, anxieties, depressions, nervous breakdowns. All of these are happening because of our environment, but we've been very, very conveniently marketed to that this is quote-unquote flu season, that there are germs that exist now that are lurking among us, that are out to get us, and that the big bad germs, and that we need to jab ourselves full of toxins in order to become healthy and stay healthy. I would very much question that, and to look at kind of preventative measures of lifestyle habits and becoming aware of how we eat, how we move, and how we think, and how we appreciate our lives. Are we doing what we love to do? Are we prioritizing our lives in ways that are meaningful to us? Those are the things at the end of the day that will make the most difference in your health, and that's what I'm extremely interested in. That's what I really make a point to educating with my patients, that's the first place to begin. Last place to begin is to ask about what crap that we need to put in our bodies in order to stay healthy when we're not looking at where we need to begin.
So, for example, in Vancouver, there's a lot of people that feel that almost depressing states sort of come in because, and I hear it time and time again from people that are not from the city. Vancouver is a very kind of cold place, and especially because of the rain, I can't stand it here. It makes me sad. And so, do you have any insight on that? Because, for example, I could suggest supplements, and I can give you food that will elevate your mood to a certain degree, but I truly believe it's a state of mind.
Yeah, that's the starting place. You begin there. Wherever you begin, whenever you're dealing with an emotional issue, the first place to begin, this is the approach that I have with people, is we have to look at it rather than trying to take things to happy pills or whatever to try and run away from the dark cloud. We got to start with a body, mind, and then life approach. So first thing we have to do is make sure that every cell of your body has adequate nutrition. So supplementation and making sure the foods that you eat is the beginning place.
Right.
You start with the cells. Okay. So this time of year, what I would recommend, and I in my life, this was a huge a big revelation for me was when I went through the worst stress of the period of time where I was going through the worst stress of my life. I was going through a divorce, but that was the same time that I started supplementing with liquid vitamin D3. And I can tell you, even though I was going through the worst stress, there's a lot to be said that the vitamin D3 made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Okay, even if it was just a placebo, I don't believe that to be true. Like, I really felt a difference. So now, I don't supplement with vitamin D3 in the summer because I actually take time to spend time outdoors
in the sun. Yeah.
So I do that in the winter. I definitely supplement with vitamin D3 and make sure that you have a plant-based diet, as much raw foods as possible. I'm all about having the green smoothies. That's great. Then what you want to do is here's the biggest secret. So body, and then you want to, of course, exercise too. It's been in research. It's been heavily researched, the effects of exercise versus placebo, exercise versus sedentary, exercise versus even psychotropic medication. Nothing comes close. If you can bottle the effects of exercise in a pill, it would be a blockbuster. And it's just amazing. So you have to schedule that into your day. I'm too busy. Well, then don't be surprised if, don't blame your body for having the blues, because you need to have that. It's just a feedback mechanism for not moving enough. That's why I like to put in a lot of salsa dancing into my workshops, into my classes, into my life. I started salsa dancing because I thought it was fun. Then when I read about the effects of dancing and movement on your brain activity, I was like, okay, I'm doing this to save my life. The last thing that you want to do, as far as overcoming these blues, is to make sure that you schedule into your week and your month things that are really very closely connected with what your values are. And your values might be spending time with your kids or date night with your significant other. That has to be scheduled in. Put it in the plans or it won't happen. When we do things that we love, that bring us a sense of fulfillment, and we schedule it into our day and work our schedules around those things, life takes on a whole new meaning. You get excited about waking up rather than going, And if you're feeling unmotivated and down and in blues and all of that stuff, not only can it be a nutritional deficiency, that's without saying, but it's also partly because we are not seeing that our day-to-day activities are connected with those values. When you do that, you are tapping into something that's a little bit more on a higher level of yourself, your higher self, if we can say, if we have a lower-minded body and physical animal side, and we have a side that's, more of a spiritual, if you want to call it that. When you're doing things that are meaningful and fulfilling to you, your body gives you feedback. You have energy. You feel excited about getting up and enthusiastic. Like, for example, this morning when you woke up and you knew that we were going to do this interview and getting ready for it, were you not feeling enthused? Absolutely. And same with me. When I knew that I was getting ready to come and share what my message is, I was feeling enthused about doing that. And one of the things that you can really suggest to your viewers is start paying attention to the activities each and every day that are actually bringing you that feeling, and let your feelings be your guide, and then spend as much time in that space as possible.
So is that what you would say would be kind of one of the tricks to figuring out what actually means something to you? Is it just sort of how you feel in that moment?
How you feel in that moment. And for one person, it could be playing shuffleboard. For another person, it's when they're gardening. I'm just going based on what a lot of my patients...
People have said.
One of my patients, because I'm always interested in extracting from people what's most meaningful to them. It's really neat when you figure that out. Most people are depressed, and they have depression, and they have unfulfillment, and they feel lost because they're not obeying that inner feeling. That's it. There is a dire consequence we face in our lives when we do not obey that inner voice. Suffering can only come when you have that inner voice, but you go, I'm gonna ignore it. How many times have you looked back and I should have listened to my, 100%, only every time.
I mean, I can see that in your life, and I've personally experienced the transformation for myself, you know, so there is so much to cover here, and I think it would be wise to maybe continue on with this conversation, you know, with another segment, just to continue to share with you and give you more insight on this. So thank you so much, Dr. Nima, for coming in and talking to us about this on your, I know you're off, you said, to the gym, so yeah.
Dress for the gym. There you go.
Yeah, so thank you so much and for bringing Lucy, and we'll see you next time.